I'm here.
I'm about to show you something pretty cool. So, you know what this is. This is a this this is a Geiger counter. It detects nuclear radiation, right? You heard from past stream. So a radioactive particle hits this Geiger counter. Now, as I said before, there's a lot of radon in this state, so that's why it clicks a lot. Now, what does it sound like against something that's actually radioactive? You want to see it? Do you want to see this thing like go off violently? I know how to do it. Type in chat. Yeah, that's how it's okay. Do you want to see you ready to see this thing go off? Smosh. Type in chat if you're ready. Cause yeah, this thing scans nuclear radiation. You know what that stuff is, you know, right? Like from Chernobyl, nuclear bombs, uranium, all that stuff, blah 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 blah. I really want to hear your response. Alright. Hold on. So, I want to bring to you a special thing. This is uranium glass. And this is not green uranium glass. It is yellow uranium glass. It is highly radioactive, which can contain up to 2% depleted uranium. Now, you hear it clicking right now, right? Now listen to this. So now the safe limit is usually 20 to 50 CPM. This thing goes to 330. There's so much uranium. Let's give it a break. Put it on a table. I don't want to touch this. God, my hand. I don't know if it's just randomness by coincidence, but my hand feels weird. Shut up. 1 microsievert per hour. Yeah, it's hit up to 330 CPM, so it's supposed to be like... Right now, I'm scanning 0.01 microsieverts. It'll usually go maybe 0.05. That goes 1.8. Heck, there's actually... My dad has toy cars. He has model cars by this uranium glass collection. And I've scanned the car, and it's actually suffering from acute radiation contamination. The car is picking up radioactive particles, and it's becoming contaminated. And maybe tomorrow, and you can actually go find this stuff. This
The UK is in lockdown till Esther.
you'll find Geiger counters that cost you like $300. This is called the 320 Plus, and I got it for GSC bucks, and it is a great Geiger counter, and it's worth every dollar of your money or pound. The coolest Geiger counter ever. With it, it's like a sixth sense. You can't see, smell, taste, or feel radiation. But with this thing, you can. Now, you might be wondering, why are elements radioactive? Now, tell me if this is cool or not. If you think this is interesting, but radiology, a radioactive element is an element that is unstable, and it's So, for example, radioactivity is how elements release their energy. For example, imagine like a toddler. You get really excited, and then it takes a little bit to kind of calm down. The more excited he is, the more radioactive he is going to be. So, elements like uranium and radium get so excited and they have to calm down over time.
U.S. deaths yesterday, 4-5.
So, radioactive elements occur when and the main three ways is alpha dicks when it starts causing cancer and stuff. The second is beta decay. And beta is when it loses or it gains a proton. Its neutron turns into a proton. No, a proton. No, neutron turns into a proton. So, for example, from beta decay, uranium will decay into neptunium, and then it will decay into plutonium. People in the past, such as the Soviet Union and the United States, have found a way to make these breeder reactors, which actually manufacture plutonium.
Detected incoming missile from Russia.
Star bomb, but it's never ever good to look at a nuclear blast in person. It's blinding. Yeah, so what breeder reactors are is they specialize in turning uranium into plutonium. My fist, if it were to be turned into plutonium, that's enough to actually devastate a city the size of Bloomington, Illinois. So one of the cooling rods jammed, and then the water. So if you don't know, if you actually place some elements next to each other, if you place uranium next to each other, sometimes it'll undergo something called fission. Nuclear fission is when, for example, you know how all that uranium is sending bullets out everywhere, and when one of those bullets hits another atom, it blows up, and like a fragmentation grenade. And those fragments, when they hit more atoms, it blows more up, and repeats, chain reacts, fission. As that happens, it gets hotter and hotter and hotter. So they pump water through reactors as the fission is going. They heat the water up so much. Hold on. So yeah, so they heat that water up and it turns into steam. After it's turned into steam, it goes through a turbine and then it's cooled by
We got an EF4 in London last year. Couldn't.
Wow, that's right. Why do tornadoes never hit there? I'll tell you why. Tornadoes. What defines a tornado? It is defined by a rapidly rotating column of air, not cloud, air. Tornadoes can occur without clouds and can completely be invisible. Some myths like rain kills tornadoes is actually false. Rain wraps around tornadoes and even makes them almost invisible. And it turns them into a wall of rain, which can kill lots of people. Well, tornadoes need cold air and hot air to function. And guess what? If you think about the geography of Illinois, or the United States, it's awesome. You got Mexico and the Gulf of Mexico feeding in hot air, and you got Canada feeding in south. And you got the Rocky Mountains to the west, which block in the hot air and cold air. And you got Appalachia, which also blocks it. So in between Appalachia and Rocky Mountains is called Tornado Alley. One of the most dangerous tornado hotspots on the planet. Tornadoes tornadoes that have been big enough to envelop
I was gonna say that.
Tornadoes that can envelop entire towns have occurred here. There was a El Reno, and it occurred, and it had a width of 2.6 miles. 2.6 miles. I'm not saying you're dumb. I'm going to put that in the kilo. Let's see. 2.6 miles is about 4.1 kilometers. Which is actually...
My friend was a few
Cars were completely unrecognizable, and sadly the El Reno tornado killed the Twistex team. A father, his son, and a recorder who was on that. They have video from the event, but they're not releasing it. Rest in peace, Tim. His car got destroyed beyond recognition. The only thing he knew is it was a white car, and
that
that's
tornado won the worst.
No, the deadly tri-state tornado. It's probably the deadliest in history. However,
Heard about the Moore, Oklahoma tornado.
The most dangerous one actually occurred in India because, well, no offense, India is not the best at architecture. So tornado devastated somewhere in India and killed about 1,100 people. The tri-state is by far the longest living tornado and the longest traveling. It went from southern Missouri to southern Indiana. So it went from southern Missouri to southern Illinois to southern Indiana. Traveled 120 miles. Killed 700 people. It is the most deadliest tornado accident in United States recorded history. It's insane. In 1999, in May, a tornado EF5 hit Oklahoma. And in 2013, May, Another EF5 hit Oklahoma. More
Heard about the
Oklahoma.
Moore, Oklahoma tornado?
It got hit by an EF5 twice. Twice within the span of 2 decades. Have you ever seen the first 10 minutes of the Moore, Oklahoma? It goes from rope to stovepipe to massive stovepipe to wedge in like 5 minutes. Search up the first 10 minutes of Moore EF5 tornado.
Yeah.
Actually, I have the video on my phone. I did it. I took the video and I sped it up by like 4 times, I think. I don't know, hold on.
It was cone, barrel, wedge back to barrel, then wedge, then rope, then gone.
Here it is at
Heard
7
about Ray
minutes.
Timmer?
Here it is at 2 minutes. 2 minutes after the video starts. There was nothing there. Let's see, ready? Let's go to 4 minutes. This is 2 minutes later. Look at the size. It's nearly tripled. There it is
The
right
thing's
there.
gone again.
Triple.
And then show me it.
God. Stop